Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode. So in this episode, we cover some more questions. So I'm going to jump right into it. Early morning, sky. For those who live in Devon, it looks like it's going to be a lovely day today. Got a bit of a busy one myself, but yeah, all good. But the first question we got from Lars. What's your favourite South Wales mark? Favourite South Wales mark? So, biggest South Wales mark? So there's so many. There's so many. If I had to pick one, I don't know. I would say Stout. I'm going to have to say Stout. I mean, I love Witch's Point. I do love it. It brings back some really good memories in that Witch's Point, and it's a very nice place to fish, and I thoroughly enjoy fishing there. So Witch's Point would definitely be on the cards, but Stout, there's something about Stout. It's just... It can be absolute mayhem, then it can be absolute rubbish. You know what I mean? It could be there 1 minute, and there won't be a fish, and then you go there on the right night, and it's like fish after fish after fish after fish, and it's a nice mark. I do enjoy going to Stout, so I'm gonna have to say, say Stout Point. Yeah, for that question. So we got another one here, which is from. Who was that from? Mike. So Mike said, I've got a question for you, Andy. What Ziplex rod would you like to see come back? Century are remaking them, and what would you buy them? Mike, yeah, yes, I definitely would. If they brought back the M427 SU, I would go out and buy a pair straight away. I love the rod. I really do love the rod. It's just a fantastic rod. It's a specimen hunter's rod. I've had many rods, many versions of the rod over the time. Different rods. I bought for a pair first time. They quite banged up and stuff. So I got rid of them and I bought another pair of them. Had them for a bit and then sold them and bought another pair, which were got off of a local lad to me, Ross Stewart, and they were done in the Timoth colours. If I remember correctly. I think they were blue, and then I had them, and then I swapped them for another pair of them in black and red because I prefer the black and red colours, and I had them, and then I had them for ages. I literally battered the hell out of them, and then the last lot I had of ones was Yorkies. I bought Yorkies off him. And I had them until the end. To be honest, I'd still have them now I think. And I had a rebuild done on them, what didn't go down very well, and ended up snapping a tip on one of them. And after that, I sold the other one to get rid of it, and I was disappointed a little bit really, because the fish that I had on them and the fish that Rob had on them, you know what I mean? They'd seen some really good fish on them at the time, and they just loved it. They were more than anything on my pride and joy, if I'm honest. I loved them, but definitely them. And if they brought the HST Dymic back, I'd pick a pair of them up as that for raying. I love those rods for raying. They're lovely rods. The Eva was a nice version of it as well, but how many rods are you going to buy? But yeah, you probably, if they come back, you've started another addiction for me there, mate. But yeah, definitely those rods. So we'll move on. Just stick with me a minute, because I'll have to try and find so we've done, right, so answer that one. So we got one from Timmy. What's your biggest regret in fishing, Andy? Biggest regret in fishing? Biggest regret? I don't know really. That's an hard one, isn't it? I mean, I think catch wise, I've done pretty much everything I wanted to do. I mean, I'd like to go and get a taupe, but I don't want to go and get a taupe from Adam. Me and Adam had a conversation the other day. I want a local taupe, so if I get a taupe, I want it from Cornwall or North Devon. Because it means more, even if it's £30. Then, because obviously over Wales and North Wales and stuff like that, they get loads of them, don't they? But it's more, I don't know, it's our local angling and stuff like that. It's more of an achievement. So yeah, I don't know. That wouldn't be it. If I'm honest, the biggest regret I probably ever had was not controlling my temper. I think, I mean, going back many years ago when I was doing the ammo bait stuff, and we had a good crack with that. I mean, obviously we were sponsored by Ammo Baits at the time, and doing loads of like promotional videos and stuff like that. We were fishing, we were pumping the baits. I started a thing with like Team Ammo, which was their which was my baby really at the time, because I mean I got it was my idea. I got a load of anglers from different parts of the UK, South Wales, North Devon, down here and stuff like that, and it was kicking right off. I mean, it went off because I think because there was nothing around like it, and obviously with the internet and stuff like that, people were enjoying watching it. Obviously the red and that was exactly the same as Sea Angler Adventures now. It's bright colours and that, it brings a more modern style into fishing, and yeah, I think obviously I think I upset a lot of people with that project. I think there was a lot of people jealous and stuff like that. I mean, I remember looking back and some of the anglers which weren't even invited, which obviously was down to me to pick the anglers, and I wanted decent anglers involved in it. And unfortunately, we had anglers getting themselves involved due to having like being connected with ammo, with buying baits and stuff, and dictating, basically saying we want this or we want that, and that angler needs to be in it, else we're not buying bait and stuff. And I look back now, and at the time, it's not my decision. At the end of the day, you're working for someone new, and yeah, it sort of there was a couple of things in what happened in there which I wasn't happy about, but the way it went down at the end, I mean, all I had to do was keep my mouth shut. I mean, we had a silly incident where I went to Selworthy, and we were doing something on the mini Max, and it was February time, frosty cliffs and stuff like that, and unfortunately, it wasn't the best place to be on an incoming tide, and those conditions, and the cliff behind us was all frosty, and that ended up collapsing with us stuck on rocks underneath. 2:30 o'clock in the morning, getting saved by the lifeboat and stuff, and it was a scary time, if I'm honest. I've done videos about it before, but if I could look back now and change the process, not necessarily change that night, because at the end of the day, we all do silly stuff in life when it comes to fishing. Everybody's put themselves in some kind of danger, and sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. I mean, we could have walked off that night, walked back across that beach after fishing, caught a couple of fish and whatever for the camera, and walked away back home and wouldn't have had that tail. But unfortunately, with the way that happened, obviously I think there was a lot of people ready to jump on the bandwagon straight away for me just to mess up at all. And it gave them all the fuel they needed. I mean, World Sea Fishing Forum, the forums and that were like quite big back then. Obviously, I don't even know if it's still going now, but I think the post was the single biggest post ever. And the trouble is, I was reading all the comments and stuff, and me being me, I wanted to answer them back. Where what I should have done is not even go on there and just not even pay no attention at the end of the day. But by keyboard warriors, I sort of ended that project. It was quite sad at the time. I mean, I had a big break from fishing because I got real peed off with it, if I'm honest, because I put so much time and effort and hard work into it, and obviously that was my job. I was going out promoting fishing. I was paid to do it at the time, and between everything what I had put in place at the time, I could afford to do it. Just go fishing every day and promote it, and promote the baits and the companies and other bits and pieces we were doing at the time and stuff. But good times. I look back and some real good times. I mean, the people that was connected with the project at the time, some really good anglers and stuff. That would be my main regret. I mean, I think if that never happened, I kept my mouth shut, I think the project and everything what I'm doing now would have been 10 times more advanced on, if I'm honest. And I think everybody would have seen the rewards for that. I mean, the companies what was connected with it, and also the audiences as well, because like I said before, guys, I didn't want all the videos to be about me, and because that's all I do it all, and the fishing and stuff like that now. But I'm happy. I was happy back then to jump on a camera and do filming and stuff. I mean, I love other people angling and stuff. That's what it's about for me. It's about covering angling, sort of like a video journalist. And I started doing the total sea fishing stuff and sea angler stuff and stuff like that. And I think what I find is when you're in the limelight like that and doing roles and positions like total. I remember when I started writing for Total Sea Fishing magazine. I mean, the amount of abuse I took online then was absolutely unreal, and I know why, and I think everybody would know why. It was because of it's the jealousy about it. I mean, there's a lot of people, because to be able to back then, it's not like it is now. You couldn't just write for a magazine. You had to be a name, or you had to do what you knew what you were doing, and yeah, it's that would probably be me is regret learning to control my temper a little bit and not let my basically my temper run away, because it does get you in trouble from time to time. But it is what it is at the end of the day. I normally say what I think. I mean, if I seen the people in the street, I'd pull them and I would say exactly the same. You know what I mean? It's one of them at the end of the day. But definitely that would be my biggest regret. So good question. But yeah. Right, so what have we got now? So we've done the Ziplex rod one. So we've got this one here. This one's by Polly. Really enjoying the new channel, like the format. Here's a question for you. Can you explain your thoughts and processes when arriving at a new mark, i.e. reading the beach and what you're looking for, etc.? So, me personally, when I get to a new venue, the first thing I look for is tide. So I always like to have tide. I mean, me personally, I've seen it. I see, like, if you're fishing the Bristol Channel and you can hit the tide line, 9 times out of 10 you'll see a fish compared to not being in the tide. So having the advantage to cast sometimes does help. Exactly, say, like you fish like white mark, for example. On a small tide, used to be able to fish that at high water, where a lot of anglers wouldn't. And I would get there and whack a rod straight out. Even if it was one rod, I'd be fishing, and the people with me would be waiting, all because of just the extra distance I was hitting. But I find sometimes, especially like places like Lowestoft, for example, be able to get that in that tide sometimes can pay off or not. You know what I mean? I remember speaking to Matt Skelly in Eurangling one day, and he was talking about it at Lowestoft, and he said, I've been there before, and like the 4 or 5 anglers left to the right of me, he's banging the leads out into that tide and in smooth hand, and they're not getting a fish. And it can make a difference. I remember going into a mark in South Wales. So basically we had a Welsh weekender back in the Sea Angle Adventures SAC days, and I do miss that club. We had some right laughs, but we basically had an England versus Wales match. And there was one little, he'll be watching this, Kane Iden, he wanted to be on the English team. So he swapped himself over with the English team. That was funny, really funny. But yeah, we had a good time actually. We went over Witch's Point for the first night. I think Kane had an eel, and we had some rays out and stuff like that, if I remember correctly. The next day we went down to a mark known as the Sandspit. And the Sandspit, first time I've ever been there. And there was loads and loads of locals ready to go on it, and we walk down when we waited. They went running right through the wading thing, right to the sandbar, and they're racing up to the end point. And as I'm walking along this sandbar, I'm looking up, and the first thing I'm looking at is the tide. And I'm looking out like that, and as I'm looking, Adam must have obviously could see I was looking. He said, "Do you see what I see?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "What are they doing?" And we must have been at least 150 yards away from where they were, like me. And we said, right, we're staying here. So then Rob and Gav come up behind, and they must have seen it as well. And I remember Rob saying, "Move up a bit, boys, let us in." And we managed to basically have all 4 of us in the position where the tide line sort of like met. And it went to show we had the only 2 rays out along that bank all day. And I'm not saying it was just because of that, but I believe later on in the tide, as the tide dropped, they would have been getting down into the tide. But the stage of the tide where we were, our baits were in the tide longer, so we had more chance of the fish coming through and picking them up. I had the 10-pounder first, and then Rob had a 24-pound something. Absolute blinding blonde, absolutely unreal. And to see some of the locals' faces as it was pulled out, they never seen nothing like that. You know what I mean? And it was a magical time. And both of us agreed, and we were talking on the way back through. It was a tide, and we couldn't believe that they were running off up, because just because you're at the end sometimes doesn't mean that that's the best point, because you're further up to sea. You've got to look at your surroundings and stuff like that, and that played a big part in that trip, 100%. I mean, we walked away with the victory, England. But Matt Erin, he made it difficult because he had a blinding small line on the first night. Then I had the blonde, but he had the better percentage, so it was all on that one fish, and Rob York managed to pull it out for us. So yeah, it's good times, real good times. But the answer to your question, tide. And then like knowing the ground and stuff like that. I mean, if you get into venues, if you're fishing flat beaches, watercraft is a big thing. I mean, I've done a talk with George Smith on it many years ago, and we were both talking about what we look for in watercraft, and explained it over on video with European Open, and exactly what we were talking about. That is what to look for. I mean, if you can see water breaking, there's a reason it's breaking. There's either sandbars or gullies or drop-offs or whatever it is. There's something breaking the water, and then you can see as the water shallows up and stuff like that. So you by knowing how to read water will catch you fish. And putting baits in the right positions. No point putting baits in there if it's broken water. You might get bass and stuff, but if you're looking for rays and stuff, you want it over the banks, don't you? So that's the answer to your question. I hope that helps. We've got another question on the back of that one. Devil Boy, brilliant, loving the videos. Keep the stories coming, and they make me chuckle. Have you tried the Tronics Pro Nagas Mark IIs? I have a pair and think they're brilliant. Just wanted to know your opinion on them. I'll be truthful. A lot probably upset a few people here, but I personally wouldn't buy another Tronics Pro rod. We've had issues with the travel rods, which I bought a pair of them. Gav bought one of them. Gav first time out spigots were gone completely, and my ones are gone as well. So I don't know what to say really, guys. I don't know whether it was the heat over there or what, but I don't know. The Achios ones we never had the problem with. So, but the main issue for me. Things go wrong in products, it is what it is, but at the end of the day the customer services should always be there. And I've emailed the company and not had no response whatsoever. And I think that's appalling really. At the end of the day, if something goes wrong and stuff, things happen, don't they? And sometimes it's one of them. But at least have the decency to reply to emails and say, look, I apologise, we'll get them replaced for you, or we haven't got them in stock anymore, is there anything else we can replace, or offer you your money back at least, do you know what I mean? But sometimes I just feel that the companies don't want to do that. I mean, they're quick enough to take your money. I mean, it's one of them. I mean, I personally, for that reason, I wouldn't buy one. I've never cast them. I can't comment on that rod, if I'm honest. But yeah, as you can see, I'm not very happy about the situation. I mean, we spent a lot of money on those rods, and I used them. I was going to keep them for like going like ray fishing and stuff down here on venues I couldn't get to, because they are stiffish rods and they were nice. But I was really disappointed to see that happen, really. But it's that's what it is. There's not a lot I can do about that. But yeah, I can't comment, mate, because I've never cast the rods. So you want a fishing story? We'll finish it off with a fishing story. So what fishing story can I tell you? Fishing story. So I'm going to go and talk to you about a session I've done on the Bristol Channel one day. So we went, it was a nightmare session, and this will go to show sometimes you can cast too far. So we went up and fished a mark node, white mark, never in the daytime, never had no fish at all, and it was like a morning tide. So we went from there over to Bossington, and never had no fish at all. So fishless, so many hours, not even a dogfish in sight, what are you going to do? So I'll never forget it. We went back to White Mark, and we were fishing away into the tide, and as the tide started to turn and come back, I was learning to pendulum cast at the time. I went to turn around and pendulum cast, and as I turned around to pendulum cast, it blew up in my face, and the lead just went like a couple of metres out. So I was like, oh. So I'm annoyed, didn't I? So I had my other rod in because we've just moved back. So I put that on the stand, got the other rod out, and hid it out. So as I hid it out, so as I'm turning around, just about to sort my other rod out, my rod tip's going over, and my mate's Lee's going, Andy, your rod tip. And I said, what? And I turn around, oh, that's got fish. So I've got this bird's nest, so I'm literally grinding the bird's nest even more to the point. And then I got, because it wouldn't like go anymore, because it was totally bird's nest up and crap, I had to like walk the fish back. And I had a 9 pound 8 small live ray on this rig, literally an arm throw out. And what I think it was is where the rocks and boulders were, the fish was coming on the sand closer in. And it does go to show sometimes, guys, and the moral to this story is, you don't have to cast the horizon, because most of the time the fish are under your feet. And we've talked about it at times, because you go to these places, like sometimes we've been targeting tope this year, and we've been going there and literally hammering a bait as hard as you can out there. So you're trying to hit 100 yards with a big bait on. And it goes to show, sometimes you don't need to. I remember we were fishing North Devon one year for the tope, and we're banging these baits out like that. And at low water, Matt Herring and Geffen Durham remember this, they were with me. We were down landing a fish, and as we were landing the fish, I said, look at that, because I looked at my headlight, and there was a tope about 25 pounds, 30 pounds, swimming from here to the wall away from me, at the end of the sofa, probably 2 meters away from me, and it was coming right, it was following the coast, the rocks coast over low water all the way along. That's what they're doing. They're homing in on smaller fish and stuff like that as they're coming through the thing. So 9 times out of 10, it's pointless chucking your bait right out there. Sometimes it's worth dropping one close. And that's what the old saying, you chuck a bait long and chuck a bait close to cover your ground. And it's very true, because me personally, I get to a venue and I go, you know what I mean, first one out, second one out, and they're all out there. So I'm covering the distance out there, but what about in here? If all the fish are in close and there's no fish out there, it can pay the difference. So I do tell the tale, and I do give the information across, but the trouble is I don't listen, and I'll carry on doing it, you know what I mean? And I don't know, sometimes it's just, you get up there, you get your rig on, you clip it down, you turn around, you think, yeah, I'm having this one, whack, and it's just watching the lead go up like that, and you get a good feeling about it, and you think, yeah, that's the one, poof, let it down, sit on the tripod, yeah, lovely. But no, sometimes you should listen to yourself, and just goes to show that the fish are underneath your feet. But I hope you enjoyed that episode, guys. That was a quick one, because I've got to go off to work now. So I look forward to catching you in episode 10 already. So in episode 10, maybe we'll talk about something a bit different on the end of them, because now Sausage Watch is gone, hopefully. And yeah, I've been doing a couple of fishing stories. I've just done another one then for you. But I'm gonna start doing something a bit more interested in them, I think, because people are asking for podcasts and stuff. And like I said to Matey the other day, I said, because he said about like listening to it on the way to work. And I said, this sort of stuff you can listen to on the way to work. You know what I mean? It's not you're not missing much by just sitting here watching me sat on the sofa or in my fishing room studio or whatever. So yeah, game on. But yeah, hope you're enjoying it, guys. Have a lovely day. Catch you in the next one.